welcome. Tonight, we drift far away from the world into the warm, echoing corridors of ancient Rome. This is not the Rome of emperors and empires, of conquest and crowds, but the Rome of the everyday. A Rome of cracked tiles and worn sandals, of shared walls and shared heat, of slow, methodical rituals and steam-filled halls. Tonight, you will walk the narrow streets, feel the dust on your skin, and pass through heavy bronze doors into one of Rome's most curious places, the public bathhouse. This is not a story of glory, it's a story of sweat, stone, silence, and routine. Story told not in battles, but in echoes. Story to lull you gently to sleep. Welcome to Boring History for Sleep. Let's begin. You wake in a cramped Roman insula, sweaty and sore, walking miles to the public baths through dirty, bustling streets. Imagine yourself in a dim, narrow room. The faint orange of morning sun slips through a high window, casting long, dusty stripes across your stone floor. The walls are cracked with time. Plaster crumbles in small flakes near the ceiling beams. It's warm already, stale. You slept on a straw mattress on a low wooden frame, though you barely remember closing your eyes. The noises of the city carried on through the night. Barking dogs, creaking carts. Someone coughing through the thin walls beside you. Your shoulders ache. Your feet still sore from yesterday's errands. You sit up slowly. There is no sink. There's no mirror. You splash a bit on your face, enough to clear your eyes, but not enough to feel clean. Just a chipped bowl of water you set out the night before, now covered with a thin film of dust. Not really. You live in an insula, one of Rome's many apartment buildings, stacked high and crammed tight. The walls are paper thin. The stairs are steep and uneven, at least you're only 3 levels up. As you dress, a tunic, worn and softened with time, you hear voices through the walls. A woman scolds her child in hurried Latin. Someone below grinds barley. Someone above has already begun hammering something. Loud, rhythmic strikes that shake dust from the beams. You open your door, and the heat rushes in. It's still morning, but the Roman sun is already asserting itself. The air smells of hot oil, smoke, and wet stone. You step into the narrow stairwell and begin your descent. Down on the street, it's chaos, but controlled in its own way. Vendors call out beneath makeshift cloth awnings. Wheels creak over stone. Children dart between legs. Someone is arguing loudly over the price of olives. You pass a butcher washing blood down the gutters, pulls briefly before rushing off toward the Tiber. This is the Subura, Rome's crowded working district. It's loud, alive, and endlessly layered. The cobblestones are uneven underfoot, their grooves worn smooth by generations. You pass temples, small shrines tucked between homes. Offerings left on cracked altars, a coin, a garland, a bit of honey cake. Pigeons rest beneath the statues, droppings trailing down the robes of forgotten gods. You have only a few sestertii in your belt, not enough for luxuries today. The streets begin to widen, the marble facades grow taller. The scent of crushed mint leaves drifts from a small cart where a boy sells handfuls wrapped in cloth. You pass it by, you're going to the thermi. The public baths. A place to wash, to rest, to socialize. If you can afford the fee today, you can. You approach the baths of Titus, newer than some, but not the grandest. They rise ahead like a small palace. Towering pillars, grand steps, and wide doors made of bronze, opened by 2 silent attendants. The quiet sound of dripping water somewhere just out of sight. You nod to them as you pass inside. The light dims. The air thickens. There is an immediate warmth. Not hot, but close, like the breath of many people in a single room. You're met with the scent of steam and damp stone, oils and herbs. Inside, the apoditerium, the changing room, is already busy. Men of all ages strip off tunics, folding them into niches in the wall. Some talk quietly, others are silent. You find an empty alcove, untie your belt, and let your tunic fall. Theft is common, though no one speaks of it. The stone beneath your feet is cold, smooth. You keep a small pouch tied to your wrist, your only valuables. Everyone watches their belongings here. There are no locks, no guards, only courtesy and caution. You walk slowly through the arch into the next chamber. The tepidarium. It's warm and humid, not yet hot. Steam curls lazily from shallow pools. Mosaic tiles depict dolphins and sea gods beneath your feet. Dull. A boy scrapes oil off a patron's back with a strigil, a curved blade, not sharp, used to clean the skin after oiling. You sit on a bench. The stone is smooth and warm beneath you. You breathe in deeply. For a moment, you let your mind wander, for this is the rhythm of your day. Hard work, a quick meal, then here, if coin allows. For a few hours, the grime of the city is replaced with steam and sweat and stillness. In a moment, you'll move on to the caldarium, the hot room. After that, the frigidarium, where cold water shocks the skin. But for now, you sit and breathe and let your limbs loosen. This is the Roman bathhouse. Steam does more than clean the body. It quiets the mind. And that, more than anything, is why people return, day after day, generation after generation. And now, as your body relaxes into the bench, as the steam swirls gently around your arms, we leave this space behind and turn now to the story of someone who knew these halls better than most, not a bather, but a worker. Let us meet Gaius, a quiet man with oil-stained hands and tired eyes, a man whose small defiance echoes in the corners of Roman history. Explore the life of Gaius, a low-ranking bathhouse attendant whose quiet rebellion changed the rules of public space. Imagine now, you are no longer the visitor to the bathhouse. You're part of its walls, its rhythm, its breath. Your name is Gaius, and you live in the warm shadows. Each morning, long before the sun touches the marble courtyards, you are already awake. The stars still linger in the sky as you cross the darkened atrium of the bathhouse. Barefoot, quiet, carrying a bucket of olive oil in one hand, bundle of cloth in the other. No one notices the attendants. Not really, to most. You are a pair of calloused hands, a bowed head. But this is your world. You know the exact sound of steam building behind the caldarium walls. You know which stone creaks when stepped on with wet feet. You know how to mix the oils with just enough laurel leaf to mask the scent of sweat. But not too much, or the richer patrons will complain. Gaius is in his late 30s now. His body's strong but tired, knees that ache in the morning, hands stained with oils and soot. His voice is soft, his presence quieter still. He once dreamed of something else, to read, perhaps, to speak with those he now serves. But life had other plans. Born to a freedwoman in the district of Transtiborum, across the river from the city, at heart, Gaius was raised among laundry steam and clattering pots. His mother worked for a wealthy household, and he was often kept out of sight when guests were present. His father, unknown. He entered bathhouse work at 16, not as a cleaner, not at first, but as a fire stoker. His job was to keep the hypocaust burning, the hidden furnace system beneath the floors that warmed the water in the rooms above. This was work done in silence, in darkness. Down tunnels with choking smoke and red-hot bricks. He remembers the sound of dripping condensation against hot stone. He remembers burns, remembers the strange peace of that place, deep underground, when the world above felt like a distant dream. Over the years, Gaius moved up slightly, became an unctuarious one who applies oil, scrapes skin, assists in the bathing process. It was a strange kind of intimacy to oil the backs of strangers, to scrape away their sweat, their dirt, their weariness, and to hear their stories when they thought he wasn't listening. He heard everything. Rumors of senators, whispered affairs, plans for uprisings, market shifts, poetry recited from memory. But he said nothing, until one day he did. There was a boy, maybe 12, maybe younger, small, wiry, barefoot. He had tried to enter the baths alone with a single coin, but not enough. Gaius was cleaning the benches when he saw the attendant turn the boy away. The boy pleaded, said he had worked all week, that his father was sick, that he just wanted 1 hour to be warm, just one. The other attendants laughed. The boy was sent away. But Gaius, he followed. Outside, beneath the shaded portico, he found the boy sitting beside the wall, silent. And without a word, Gaius took the coin and walked back inside. He gave it to the steward, said it was payment from an old customer who had left. Then he returned, and quietly guided the boy through the doors. He was careful. No one noticed, or so he thought. But the next day, he was summoned by the curator, Balnearum, the overseer of the baths, a wealthy, balding man with rings on every finger. The curator didn't raise his voice. He didn't scold. He only looked at Gaius and said, "You've set a precedent." And then, to his surprise, curator allowed it. From that day forward, once a week, at dusk, the baths would open their doors to the poor, for free. It was not announced. But word spread, and though no statue was built for Gaius, as though his name did not enter scrolls or speeches, he became quietly a legend among the working poor of Rome. Children whispered about the oil man who opened the doors. Rote mothers left coins on the bathhouse steps in thanks. He never took them. Gaius worked for many more years, and when his hands began to tremble, when his knees gave out on the slippery floors, he was allowed to rest in a small chamber above the appetiterium. Where the stone was always warm, they say that in his final days, he would sit by the baths and listen, not speak, just listen to the water, to the voices, to the soft rhythm of a world he had helped shape in a way no one quite understood, but everyone felt. And now, as the last whispers of Gaius fade into steam and silence, we turn to something deeper still. Beneath these baths, beneath their warmth and routine, lie shadows. Sacred ones. Places hidden from most eyes. Let us now descend to the mithraeum, a chamber of quiet mystery, of ritual, of flickering flame, where secrets were whispered in the steam below the city. Dive into the mystery of the mithraeum. Secret cults that met beneath the baths, hidden in steam and shadow. Imagine yourself now, descending a worn staircase behind a seldom-used corner of the bathhouse, a place most patrons never notice.
Out.
There is no sign. Just a plain wooden door, half-rotted at its base, behind a draped curtain of linen, long forgotten. You step inside, and the air changes. It grows cooler, damper, stiller. The smell of frankincense and ash lingers faintly. Not fresh, but settled, like a memory etched into the walls. This is the mithraeum. Not a temple in the grand sense, but a chamber, rectangular, low-ceilinged, tucked beneath the steam and bustle of the Roman bathhouse above, was lit by flame, or was, when it was in use. You imagine oil lamps flickering softly, casting long, quiet shadows across painted walls. The murals are faded now. If you could still see them, they would show a bull, a scorpion, a man in a strange Phrygian cap plunging a dagger into the animal's neck. This is Mithras, a god not born of Rome, but adopted by it, ported quietly from the east, perhaps Persia, perhaps further. His followers were men, mostly soldiers, tradesmen, bathhouse workers, men drawn to silence, to mystery, to discipline. In this space, they met in secret, not because it was forbidden, but because it was sacred. The mithraeum was more than a sanctuary. It was a cave, a symbolic one meant to mirror the great cavern of creation. No windows.
No.
No distractions. Just dim light, ritual, and the steady pulse of belief. Imagine yourself seated on a stone bench along the wall. There are 12 of you, always 12, representing the signs of the zodiac. Each man has taken a vow of silence for the evening. You've removed your sandals, washed your hands in a copper basin. Now, you wait. At the far end of the room is the Pteroctony, the image of Mithras slaying the bull, a moment frozen in paint and plaster, low at a small altar. And beside it, the potter, the elder, the father figure of the group, robed in white linen and silent authority. Tonight's ritual is one of reflection, shared meal, bread and wine. But unlike the noisy banquets of the surface world, here, everything is quiet, intentional, each bite, measured, sacred. There are no speeches, no sermons, only symbols. You watch as a flame is passed slowly from hand to hand, a single oil lamp carried without a word. It rests briefly before you. You feel its warmth on your skin, its flicker reflects in your eyes. This flame is the light of Mithras, it's the fire within the cave. The quiet knowledge of what lies beneath the noise of Rome. Historians still do not know everything about this cult. Much was never written down. And what was, remains fragmentary. There are no grand libraries dedicated to Mithras, no imperial records, only underground chambers like this one, hidden beneath temples, homes, and yes, even bathhouses. What we do know is that it thrived. For nearly 3 centuries, it offered men a space of mystery and belonging in a world increasingly dominated by spectacle. But eventually, it faded, as new beliefs rose and Rome shifted. The mithraeums were abandoned, sealed, forgotten, but some remained untouched, buried beneath centuries of dust and stone. And when archaeologists in the 19th century broke through a crumbling wall beneath the baths of Caracalla, they found one, intact, silent. The stone benches still in place, the altar still standing, and scattered across the floor. The remnants of candles long extinguished. Imagine what they felt, peering into a space untouched by light for over 1,000 years. A space where whispers once lived, and now only shadows remain. So now, as you sit in this sacred darkness, as the flame gently fades from your imagination, let the silence of this chamber settle into your breath. The mithraeum asks for nothing, offers no promises, only the stillness beneath the noise, and the sacred comfort of not needing to speak. Let us leave it now. Let us ascend gently. Back above, the baths hum with heat. Somewhere else, far from these quiet depths, a man of wealth prepares his own bathing ritual. Let us now follow him. Into marble halls, into scented oils and studied silence, into the world of Roman elite. Follow a Roman senator through his bathhouse ritual. Massage, debate, schemes, revealing the quiet power of water and status. Imagine yourself again, but this time your feet do not ache. Your robe is not frayed, and your path through the bathhouse is lit and cleared before you arrive. You are a Roman senator. We will not name you. You are not famous. You are one of many, a man of letters, of lineage, of land. But here in the baths, you are simply observed. It is the 9th hour, just past mid-afternoon. You've finished your meetings in the Curia. You've written 2 letters, dictated another. You've refused 3 visitors, ready now for your baunia, your afternoon ritual of cleansing. A slave helps you remove your toga, a heavy, cumbersome garment reserved for public display. Beneath it, your body is pale, soft with age. You wear your years like folds of linen. You enter the tepidarium first, the warm room. You sit alone, on a marble bench shaped to cradle the back. Your slave stands nearby, silently fanning you with a woven palm frond. The air smells of lavender, faint, not overbearing. A young philosopher approaches. He bows and with your nod sits nearby. For several minutes there is silence, then softly a conversation begins, not of politics but of stoic thought, of virtue and of time. You ask, is leisure wasted if it does not produce something? He answers, perhaps, but some leisure restores the part of us that produces. You nod. There is no urgency. Words are left to breathe. Now you enter the caldarium. It is hot here, thick with steam. Your skin begins to bead with sweat almost instantly. An attendant gently oils your arms and chest, using long, slow strokes. He does not speak. Your eyes close. In this place, your mind drifts. You think of olive harvests, your stating companion. Of your father's voice, once so stern. Of the marble statue in your atrium, carved in his image. Think of your son, studying rhetoric in Alexandria. You wonder if he remembers your lessons, or if he too will seek his own quiet spaces in time. Now you move to the frigidarium. Cold water, still as glass. Step in slowly. The chill grips your breath, but you do not react, not aloud. This is part of the ritual. Contrast, balance, fire, then ice, heat, then stillness. Afterward, you are dried, massaged with oils. Light touches meant more for circulation than pleasure. You are dressed again, this time in a simple tunic, a symbol of retreat from public duty. In the palestra, the open courtyard, you walk slowly beneath olive trees. A small pool reflects the low sun. The shadows of the colonnades stretch out ahead of you. Nearby younger men wrestle. You do not watch them. Instead, you speak with another senator. Old friend, You discuss grain imports, the price of Syrian glass, the fading talents of local poets. But these are not negotiations. They are positioning. Gentle, silent games of influence played without raising one's voice. The sun begins to dip behind the rooftops. An attendant brings honeyed wine, slightly chilled. You sip slowly. You do not return to your domas immediately. Instead, you remain here, in the fading light, in the quiet. This bathhouse is not merely a place to cleanse the body. It is where ideas ferment, where alliances bloom or fade, where power is rehearsed in whispers and half-smiles. But also, it is sanctuary. It is one of the few places in Rome where you are not commanded, only attended, where you are not surrounded by marble busts of ancestors, but by living, breathing people. And so you sit, until the last light fades, till the air cools, until the silence wraps itself around your shoulders like a second tunic. This too is Rome, not its wars, not its conquests, but its rhythms, its silences, its rituals, reflective closing. And so, as the steam fades, as the stone cools beneath your imagined feet, we leave the bathhouse. We leave its shadows, its echoes, its whispered secrets, and warm silence. We've wandered from the soot-covered steps of a crowded insula, through the gentle rebellion of an oil-stained worker, down into the sacred hush of an underground mystery, and finally, into the softened rituals of the elite. And in all of it, there was rhythm, there was breath, there was the quiet persistence of ordinary life. The Roman bathhouse was not just a place. It was a space between things, between toil and rest, between the public and the personal, between who we are and who we present to be. As you rest now, let this slow journey settle into your mind like a gentle mist. Let the tiled floors, the murmured voices, and the soft drip of warm water lull you further into sleep. You are far from Rome now, but for a time, you were there. And now, you can simply drift. Good night. And thank you for visiting Boring History for Sleep.